Look at this color. So this morning I'm trying to photograph Mount Fitzroy in Los Glaciers National Park in Argentinian Patagonia. But as you can see, it's raining. The mountain is totally socked in there. Can't see anything. So don't think we're going to be doing much photography this morning. Can't really complain. We've been in Patagonia for about 7 days now, and we've had some outstanding conditions. We just got to Argentina yesterday, and we were kind of due a bad day where we couldn't see the mountains. So we set out this morning at about 5 o'clock and hiked up in the dark. And pretty much as soon as it started to get light, we could see that the mountain was totally clouded in. It's raining, it's not great weather, and it became obvious that we weren't going to get a shot. Now this is a very well photographed part of Patagonia. Lots of people come here to shoot here. So what we decided to do this morning was just to try to spend the morning just exploring, trying to find compositions, trying to find something that works. There's incredible fall color here at the moment. It's absolutely amazing. So any shots that I do, I really want to make a big thing about the fall color. And there's this lovely river flowing through the valley. So we've just been kind of walking up and down, trying to find compositions, trying to find bits of the river that work particularly well. When you're using water as a foreground, what you're usually looking for is bits of white water where the water's cascading over rocks, because that's going to give you a more dynamic foreground. It's going to give you a little bit more contrast, a little bit more movement. Still water in a foreground generally feels a little bit like empty space. You want something a little bit more dynamic. So I've just been walking up and down the bank, trying to find compositions. And I use my phone to do that a lot. It was raining quite heavily, so just shooting through the camera, I knew I was going to get the camera lens really, really wet. So I've just been using my phone to try to find compositions. So when we come back here tomorrow, hopefully with better weather, it'll be much easier to kind of zone in on the compositions that we want and then refine them and hopefully get the shot. Now, as it turned out, the weather forecast was for solid cloud for the next couple of days. So we decided not to make the big sunrise hike when we knew that there was just almost no chance of seeing the peaks, and instead did some shots nearby the town of the waterfall, which is a kind of location that works much better with the flat light that you get on cloudy days. The fall colors were really saturated in the light. There's no direct light on the scene, so you don't have to worry about highlights burning out in the water or in the leaves. And we also visited Rio Los Veltas Valley, where we could get some images of the fall color in the valley, as well as telephoto images of the Fitzroy Peak. Now, while I'm relatively happy with these shots, these really weren't the shots of Fitzroy that I really wanted. So this is the fourth day here in Fitzroy, and I don't really feel that I've got the shot that I really, really wanted to take. I've talked before in videos that expectation is always a bit of a problem in landscape photography, because before you go somewhere, you always have a kind of idea of what the place is going to be like. You look at other people's work, so it's kind of impossible to not arrive with a degree of expectation about what you're going to see and some kind of idea of the shot that you want to take. It's very difficult to just be purely reactive. Now, I've seen so many photos of Fitzroy and the mountains around here, and they are incredibly stunning mountains, really, really photogenic. And so it's almost impossible to not have this kind of idealized image of the mountain in my head, a kind of notional perfect shot, some wide angle image with beautifully lit mountain in the background and a really lovely foreground, which I just don't feel I've been able to capture yet, mainly due to the fact that the peak of Fitzroy is almost always completely covered by cloud. And it's not that we haven't been shooting. I've got quite a few images here, but not one that really captures the mountain. Now, experience has taught me that in landscape photography, there's a lot of disappointment. We miss far more shots than we ever get. But I also know that in a few months, when I can evaluate the images more objectively and the expectations I had for images have kind of dissipated, I know that there's going to be enough shots from the trip that I'm happy with to make a portfolio from. And the images that I've taken right now that don't fit with that idea of the perfect shot, I'll be able to reevaluate them and probably be happy with them. And that perfect shot won't really matter anymore. The shot that we get eventually almost always resonates more with us than the shot that we want but didn't get. But still, even knowing all that, I really want to have one final go at getting that shot. So that was maybe, I think maybe we got a shot. We got up here super early in the dark, hiked up here at about 5 o'clock in the morning in the dark, and got to the spot about 2 hours before sunrise. Set up composition in the stream, it's composition that I found before, I was very, very happy with. And then just waited for it to get light and for the clouds to clear, because the forecast was for the clouds to clear around about 9 o'clock. And they kind of did to an extent. We got glimpses of the peaks at the side at Point Sonot, and then just of the ridge of Fitzroy. But I really felt that I wanted to see about 20–25% of the mountain, not just glimpses of it at the edge. So I think that when I sit down at home and I look at the images, I'm going to be happy with them. I think that there's going to be a shot there. So we're kind of watching the clouds, and you see this sort of gap at the side of the mountains, and you see the clouds blowing from left to right, and you think that the wind's going to blow the clouds away, but that's not what's actually happening. The mountain's actually creating the clouds. It's forming the clouds as the air condenses from the peaks. So all morning it's just had winds blowing around it and bits clearing around it, around some of the peaks, but just this thick head of clouds stuck over the actual mountain itself. But even then, it's still been an absolutely wonderful morning, just sitting there watching it get lighter, watching the mountain, watching the clouds move around it has been absolutely stunning. We've done some telephoto shots that I think are going to work out quite nice. And yeah, it was absolutely worth getting up at 4 in the morning and hiking up here in the dark. But now back down to the hotel, going to have a coffee, lunch, and then check out. And that's really it for this trip. That's it for Patagonia. It's been just an amazing 2 weeks here. What a stunning place. I really can't wait to come back. It really is beautiful. And so now looking back on the images a few months later, I guess I never really did get the shot that I had in my head. The one that I took in the morning, compositionally, I'm happy with it, but the reality is that the mountain is hidden behind too much cloud, and those peaks really do need to be properly lit up. By the time we even had this much of a glimpse of the mountain, the best light had passed. The image that I took just outside the town along the river is probably a better classic shot of the peaks, but ironically, it was as we were leaving on the final day in the morning that the clouds finally cleared, and looking back along the road as we left the park, the clouds and light created a really dynamic scene that worked really well, particularly when I turned it into a monotone. So it's not the shot that I had in my head before the trip. It's not really the one that I wanted, but it is the one that I got. And at the end of the day, I'm really, really happy with it. And so yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions or comments, just drop them down below and I will get back to you. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you enjoy my photography, if you enjoy the way that I shoot, I would love to have you join me on a workshop here next year. We're also coming to places like Namibia. We're going to be doing workshops in Madeira, in the Azores, in Iceland, in Greenland. So yeah, you can find full information on all of my workshops on my website. If you've got any questions, drop me an email and I'll get back to you, and I'd love to have you join me. And as ever, thanks so much for watching. Good luck with all your photography and take care. See ya.